Gold. Always believe in your soul. The early days of 8-bit computer games. It was the Wild West, and basically everyone was ripping off the arcade. And Ocean, yes, Ocean, the people who did all the massive officially licensed games of the late 80s and 90s, were one of the main culprits. And while to many people Gilligan's Gold may seem like an original game, no, it is a 100% complete rip-off of the 1982 arcade game Bagman. Everything, the level layouts, the characters, the whole gameplay, it is a complete lift of Bagman. So let's start off on the Spectrum, 1984. Keith Burkill is one of the coders, and he later coded Space Harrier, an afterburner for the Spectrum. So, it's a very conventional platforming and ladders game, where you have to take the bag of gold to your wheelbarrow, and you can move the wheelbarrow around. There are baddies after you, they freely roam around the level, and there are pickaxes to dig through walls, and also you can kill enemies with them. You can also drop the bags of gold on the enemies, and you can jump in the minecarts. Oh, I've got trapped again. So if you haven't noticed, I'm the little magenta man. Not pink, magenta. This is a Spectrum game. The Spectrum doesn't have a pink. So I'm just running around, just trying to avoid the baddie there that's flouncing around. And over to the Amstrad CPC, one of the first games. I'm not sure if this is one of the first Amstrad CPC games by Ocean, or if it's Hunchback by Amsoft, or Kong Strikes Back. You know, the one with the Samantha Fox Kong. But not much of a loading screen on the Amstrad. And 1984 Ocean Software. And a very long high score table. With, well, one of those ones you want to read all the way through. I suspect this came after Hunchback because it says Esmeralda loves Hunchy. And apparently Steve Wright is the best. Love the show. Oh, and Jim will jinx it for you. Indeed. No music on the Amstrad, just beeps and various sound effects. Curiously, no BBC or VIC-20 version of the game would have. I guess it would have required an expansion on the VIC. The ladders are particularly peculiar. Why they couldn't just draw normal ladders instead of these, whatever they are, things, I don't know. So if you touch a baddie, you die. There's a lot of just trying to predict where the baddie's going to go, and then just try and keep out the way. Oh, yeah, I used the pickaxe to kill him. Or not kill him, sorry. I used it to hit him. Although if your bonus runs out, then you die. Your bonus gets topped up every time you put a bag of gold into your wheelbarrow. Now in Bag It on the arcade, when you pick up a sack of gold, you slow down, but not so on the Spectrum version or the Amstrad CPC. The game does remember enemy positions when they are off screen, and they can still track you. So if you think you can just get off screen to escape them, no, they may suddenly appear behind you. It's arcade rip-offs like this that got Ocean Software established, ironically, so that they could afford to buy all the official arcade games. It's, as I said earlier, it really was the Wild West. Over to the C64. Yeah, I've seen a game that looks like this. It's on the Atari VCS. Enough said. So off we go on the C64. We start down the bottom. And you get a tune and it's much smoother. And you do slow down when you... Oh, I dropped that down there. Yeah, you do slow down when you're carrying gold on the C64, like the arcade. I mean, again, I'm comparing it to the arcade version. Of course, this isn't an official conversion, so they can do what they like, effectively. There's a weird thing at the top of ladders where you kind of step up, weirdly. Collision detection on the C64 version, I thought it was me just having a problem. But I looked on the reviews on Lemon 64 and no, many people complaining about dodgy collision detection on this version. So if I get that axe, I can hack my way through there. And, oh no, I can't. I thought I'd pick that up. Let's go down here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Can I jump up there with the bag? I can. Okay. Baddies can't get you when you... Oh, my bonus is about to run out. I've taken too long. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I don't know why it plays that tune when you die. Back to the Amstrad now. I've restarted the game. And I've now got the gold from behind the barrier there. You need to move the wheelbarrow around to get it to the right easiest position to use. Because this level layout is rather fiendish. You can only get to certain sections of the screen a certain way. The Amstrad version could have more colours, but for some reason it doesn't. It's very basic in its colouring. That can sometimes be a sprite trick to keep the sprite movement smooth. But, yeah, I don't know, really. Sometimes sometimes the enemy sprites flicker, but I can't quite work out why, because they're not on the same line as something else. I think it's just the coding. It's so silent. It feels... it's early days, isn't it? Really, on computer games. I think it plays competently. There's something here. I mean, so many games are basically unplayable in this era, but I'm running along. But so much of it relies on the fact they have straight copied the arcade. Back to the Spectrum. Which looks fairly horrific, really. Look how... It's just the way the man kind of walks around. Both hands in the air, flapping around. It's faintly ridiculous. It's not that the Spectrum can't do better than this. I think it's just because they're not capable of drawing anything better. Colour clash becomes an issue when on those diagonal sections. Well, I'm dead. Yeah, the Spectrum could do better than this. And that's a kind of... That pound sign is just a kind of big block with a... Yeah. It just feels... so basic. So very basic. I think Spectrum coders learnt very quickly how to do better than this. But if you had a C64 or Amstrad, you'd be saying, you know, is this what the Spectrum can do? And the answer is no, the Spectrum can do way better than this. It's just the coders can't really do much better. Mind you, the C64 and Amstrad can do much better than this. We're on the 64 now. And this is screen 2, the middle screen. I've restarted the game again. You'll notice the barrier I hacked out earlier is intact. Couldn't see any hacks or trainers available for this game. Not that you really need it. I would have just liked something that allowed me to wander around without that bonus expiring on the C64. There is for the Amstrad. It's difficult to criticise the gameplay because the gameplay is inherent in the original version. that the enemies are almost moving around randomly. And it's very easy to become completely trapped. If you could jump on the top level. See, I'm dead again. If you could escape your way to the top and then jump, and there's areas to jump, that'd be so much better. It just feels inherently unfair, like so many games this era do, to be honest, at certain points. Enemies just drop to his death there. I'm now in the minecart. If you can't tell the difference between my sprite and the enemy sprites on the 64. You touch the controls to jump out of the minecart, but don't touch them in the way you're going, because you'll jump out on the wrong side and then get run over. Back to the Amstrad. This is screen 3, the third of the screens. This is all there is to the game in both the home versions and the arcade. And we're nearly complete. I've got one bag of gold just to put into my wheelbarrow. Oh, there must be another one. As the game didn't end. Right, okay. Those ladders! Why do those ladders look like that? Into the lift. You can't control the lifts, they just go through their sequence. But both the baddies are on a different screen at the moment, so that's absolutely fine. I'm nice and clear here. But they can just jump into you from behind, which is rather annoying. Get no warning there nearby and about to come onto your screen if you're waiting for the lift. Right, up to the top, run along. And are there more levels? No. It's exactly the same. The game will loop around forever. So, Gilligan's Gold, aka unofficial Bagman rip-off. I can't really complain about the game itself. It is a replica of Bagman in the arcade for the home micros with all the limitations coders found for each of the systems at the time. You can't really blame them. It's very early days. There are only 3 screens to the game, and that's all you're getting for your probably $5.95, $6.95. It plays perfectly well on all these versions. The Amstrad version could do with some music. The Spectrum version is particularly ugly. But for all these versions, the weaknesses are all things transferred from the arcade. The lack of ability to jump, and enemies coming out from other screens behind you or just trapping you in places you can't get out of. It's funny to think the foundations of Ocean are built on these illegal clones when very shortly they'll be licensing Hunchback and basically building a massive multi-million-pound company on official licenses. But that's the way it was in the early days of 8-bit computer games. At the end of the day, this is another of the early Ocean arcade clones that isn't particularly good. Bagman isn't a great game, but if you must play it, then just play it in MAME.